So hi everybody, thank you so much to be here for our final presentation. I'm very excited. I'm a little bit emotional today for what you guys do for us. I want to thank the professor because in the condition that we are was very hard to deal with this, with whatever we're doing. So really thank you so much at everybody, and thank you to all the students to try to do something nice and like good for our restaurant, for our industry, actually, for hospitality, for the future. I want to say thank you to Professor Polino. Thank you so much. I think she have the microphone off.
Sorry.
Here we go. Hi, how are you? How are you?
Okay, good.
Okay.
So the big day has arrived.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your effort that you put in this, and thank you so much for everything.
Okay, so at this point, obviously, we are thankful that Francesco, you and your team made this available to us. I'm also thankful to Professor Maiolini, who brought the project in the first place, and to all the participating professors, Professor Holud, Fiorentino, Salvatore, Lanza, I think I haven't forgotten anyone, and of course, all the students who work very hard. So we're all here to see what they've come up with and not to hear me speak. So I'll leave the floor to you, Francesco, or how are we going to organize this? We will have
yes, I think so. I think we have a lot of students and all the professors are here. So after the thanks, I think we can start if you want with the Made in Italy, the Italian business environment, BUS ETS 260. So I think we can start with that if you want. Good. So welcome to Made in Italy project.
Thank you, first of all, and I would give the floor actually directly to my students who are here, and they can share the screen, and the floor is there. So thank you again. Angelica, Marco, Claudio.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm going to share the screen.
Ciao Claudio, ciao Angelica.
Hi, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
One second. Okay, you should see it?
Good.
Okay, so good afternoon. I'm Claudio Buratti, and I'm with Angelica Luzzi and Marco Chen. We are students of John Cabot University in Rome. We are in the class of Made in Italy, as you just said, with Professor Salvatore. And well, our project was to develop a model for Made in Italy restaurants here and abroad after the pandemic, so a sustainable one. I don't know, one second. Okay, so our main question prior to our work was, what's the future for Made in Italy restaurants? Well, we came up with a lot of things, but our model, first of all, wants to incorporate the new post-pandemic standards, so sanitary and technological, while embodying and preserving the Made in Italy values and qualities that we all love. Our key elements of the model are, as you can see, environmental sustainability, the importance of partnership, the concept we developed of Made with Italy that we further explore, then technological advantages, flexibility, and the marketing component.
Good evening to everybody. Sustainability is no longer an option, but a necessity to take in charge by all industries. So restaurants' duty in environmental sustainability not only consists in helping the environment, but also consists in helping their customers to understand and contribute to improving the ecosystem. And today I am going to introduce you some innovative sustainable ideas designed for restaurants. The first and the most immediate step of environmental change is eco-friendly packaging. This means cutting down the non-recyclable materials and replace them with sustainable products. Examples can be replacing plastic bags with biodegradable bags and plastic food containers with those made with paper or cardboard. Following this change, recycling will be easier for both restaurants and consumers. Another change that can be applied by restaurants is the reduction of energy consumption. Restaurants can replace old equipment with eco-friendly alternatives. This upgrade is not a low-cost expense, as you imagine, but it will certainly pay off in the long term. Moreover, to further minimize the carbon footprint, restaurants can make accords with their food suppliers, and whenever it is possible, restaurants should demand their suppliers to use sustainable packaging. Last but not least, another problem occurring in all restaurants around the world is food waste. And according to the United Nations, 30% of all the food produced in the United States is wasted every year. And so to reduce the food waste, restaurants can follow three simple processes. First, restaurants should avoid overplacing stock. And then restaurants should apply practices on food storage. And finally, restaurants can donate excessive food and ingredients to the locals.
Okay, so I previously mentioned the importance of partnership, and we think that even more after the pandemics, there's a sense of general community. Well, we propose two main goals. The first one, as you can see, is the sharing the logistical costs. We calculate with restaurants approximately within a range of 20 kilometers. Of course, this would reduce emission and greenhouse gas emission that not only affect the environment, but even humankind. So it should be our first interest. And of course, by sharing the cost, there will be a significant saving for every company and thus every restaurant. Then linking with what Marco just said, for us it's very important to do agreements with food delivery companies. In the COVID era, food delivery companies are the business that more flourish in this period. They actually double their business. So we think that not only to fight food waste, but even for still generating a small income, restaurants could and should do dealings and agreements with delivery companies. But in what way? We think that, for instance, at the end of every shift, restaurants could give the extra food at lower price, for instance, at 50% off to delivery companies that will sell themselves the food and will create this cycle of agreements with delivery companies, and we still offer the chance to the entire population to eat food from restaurant, which is not something that common. Then we move on to our concept of made with Italy. And why with and not in? Well, obviously, we started from the Made in Italy. We like to say Made in Italy brand because for us is a proper brand. And we want to preserve the Made in Italy characteristic here, but mostly even abroad. We focus on the problems, as you can see. Which are those? The first one, obviously, is the shipping costs. If you think, for instance, at Francesco's restaurant in New York, we can only imagine the shipping costs. And linking to that is the quality, affected quality of product, because every trip for the ingredients lasts at least for 2 or 3 days. So we can imagine that even the freshness and the quality of the product will be affected. And then, of course, even the pollution that generates this great cargo or shipping, etc. And then, of course, as we just say, we want to preserve the Made in Italy identity, And the main problem that probably a lot of restaurateurs encounter with made in Italy restaurants abroad is that they lose the Italian identity, because, for instance, they could buy products from farmers, foreign producers, and thus there is no more Italy in the product. So what is our proposition? The solution are basically two. The first one is the core one, and we propose a foreign production following the Italian tradition. In which way? We know that this part of the model is pretty expensive for the restaurateurs. But if we see in the long run, in the long term, if we train local farmers, local producers to produce products abroad, but in the Italian way, we would abolish and fight all the problems I listed earlier, and we would get a fresh new product just as we would made in Italy. Then the second point is that of glocalization. It's a bit controversial, but I think it fits. Well, globalization, for those not familiar with it, is global brand and local action. Applied to our model, we thought that if we success to produce abroad an Italian product, in this way we could let meet the culture of the foreign country to our Italian culture. For instance, we thought about Middle East countries where they got a strong culture, and we thought that with Italian tradition meeting with local tradition, it would even give a more appealable and more wanted product in the end of the day.
Okay, so for the technology aspect of our model, we made a lot of research and we found that during the pandemic, a lot of young startups and technological innovations have been developed to help the hospitality industry. We chose one, which is the interactive kind of menus. We believe that with this kind of menus, we are going to provide the customer with a better sense of customization, but also innovation, while not losing the ordering experience. Indeed, these kind of menus provide every information needed on the food that you're ordering, while respecting the social distancing measures. We know that this kind of advancement has a higher cost rather than the traditional kind of menu, but we believe that in the long run, this cost is going to be paid off. And also the cool factor has no price.
Fantastic.
One of the main reasons for the failure of companies to reestablish in the business is the lack of flexibility. In fact, many industries are over-perceiving the ordinary. But we understood from the pandemic that the ordinary does not work in special circumstances. So in terms of flexibility, we developed three innovative strategies. First, restaurants should implement innovative technologies, like Angelica said. So the first strategy is to use a digital ordering system, which is the transformation of ordinary menus and the waiter's service into a digital format. There are already many restaurants that applied this change, for example, by using tablets. And the advantage of this technology is the increase of efficiency. In addition, the digital ordering system can also track and collect important information for restaurants, such as customers' preferences and feedback. The second flexible strategy that restaurants should operate is differentiated menus. Restaurants can start by developing menus designed for vegetarians and vegans, who are an important target segment if we consider that almost 10% of the Italian population is either vegetarian or vegan. And if we look at a country like China, almost 50 million people are vegetarian. By doing so, there will be, of course, a growth of customer base. Moreover, to manage food waste while also increase profit, restaurants can provide more affordable menu options. For instance, restaurants can provide packages for families who suffered from the pandemic. By doing so, restaurants will not lose their brand value, but they will also earn a positive image for their commitment to the society. To further help the society, restaurants can collaborate with family businesses that suffered very hardly for the pandemic. For instance, restaurants can collaborate with food suppliers like farmers, so that there will be a win-win situation for both parties. Restaurants will benefit from profitable prices, and farmers will have a chance to rise their business and produce revenues.
A good marketing strategy is fundamental in this model, so we decided to promote our restaurant on social media advertising and new media. We all know that, especially during the pandemic, we spent a lot of time on our phone, especially in social media. So we believe that social media advertising is not only largely effective, but also cheaper than the traditional one. We are promoting a unique image for our restaurant that is not only a traditional Italian restaurant, but it also has connotations of innovation and technology, while being overall more sustainable. Lastly, we integrate our model with an opportunity of internship for marketing students. They can earn university credits while providing the restaurant with marketing strategies and promotion online. Okay, so we came to the conclusion, and now we're asking you, what do you think the Made in Italy restaurant future is? Thank you.
Bravissimi ragazzi, bravissimi, bravissimi, brava Angelica, bravissimi. Prof,
Thank you.
bravissimi davvero. Prof?
Polino or myself?
No, Prof, yourself. No, I wanna just say thank you so much
Pleasure.
to drive all your class in this direction. The guys are amazing, and although true, are very interesting and a great point of view for me. And I think they are really touch a good point every single slide, and I'm very impressed for how much the guys went into it, all the problem, and be ready to give a solution. They becoming problem solver with that. So thank you so much. Fantastic. Bravissimi ragazzi.
I want to thank the students, and thank you for this opportunity, Francesca, and obviously Silvia and Riccardo. And I'm sure that we can share even the report, because obviously students try to condense in 10 minutes the presentation, but they have a report. So obviously they will be happy to share this report with you.
Yeah, this is very important for me, because we can match the report with slide and make something a little bit more deep for our thoughts, Really, thank you so much. It was such an interesting solution. And grazie davvero, grazie davvero. Grazie ragazzi.
Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure, guys. Bene, abbiamo terminato. We finished with the Made in Italy class, and really thank you so much for this fantastic opportunity. Great job, guys. Really fantastic. Now we will pass to the brand management MKT 360 class. Thank you so much.
Okay,
yes, I will share my screen.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Professor, how are you?
Good, good, good. I was just gonna say a few words of introduction. What you're going to see here, like Professor Salvatore said, is obviously just a very condensed version of the huge amount of work that the class did. And as a difference to what we just saw, of course, by the nature of its very top of the very topic, what you will see is actually a much more Antica Pesa specific kind of analysis, because that's the only thing you can do when you work around brand management. You need to take a brand, you need to analyze a brand, and you need to come up with ideas and with solutions and with challenges to face when a well-established brand needs to face a new opportunity, like the one of sustainability. So there's a whole lot of things that you need to think about. And so I want to thank my students even before they present, because they went out of their way to do what I think was a really good job. So thank you. And over to you, Isabella and team.
Good. Okay. So do you want to introduce your student so we can start?
Yeah, Isabella, can you share your screen, and if you're ready to
Isabella.
start?
Okay, I think I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Here. Okay, good. Okay.
All right, so we are the brand management team. We are just a few people of the whole class, and we all were really working hard on this project. And so we're just gonna focus on parts like brand charter, the targeting, the brand architecture, and like Professor said, really to analyze the brand. First, we needed to start with the research. So here, what you're going to see in the second is just one of the many things we found, and this specifically just illustrates the importance of different factors of sustainability that are implemented in food industry and what is really important to those customers. So we can see that, for example, using local ingredients or being environmentally friendly is far more important to customers than, for example, reducing water usage or, surprisingly, even reducing the carbon footprint. And so further research, we can move to Ottavia.
Okay, yes. In the next slide, you can see the major findings of the survey we have created and we have conducted. The sample size was composed of 40 respondents in the age range between 19 and 35 years old, all from Rome. We investigated their relationship with environmental actions and restaurants, and two major findings were related to the questions: how much would you spend more for eating in a restaurant that is committed to environmental action? And actually, the answer was surprising. Isabella, if you can show the results. Okay, so 37% of the respondents said that they will spend 10% more, while the 25% said that they will spend 15% more. And the second findings, which was very interesting, we asked our respondents how likely you are to go to Antica Pesa if it shows environmental and sustainable efforts, such as organic food, eco-friendly product, kilometer zero food, and less water consumption. The answers were likely for the 35% and very likely for the 28%. So in order to better understand our new potential segment of the market, we designed a new consumer persona. And in the next slide, this is Ginevra Fraschetti, which is an Italian doctor who works at Villa Stuart as an orthopedic surgery. She's 32 years old, born in Rome, and she lives in Rome city center. She knew Anticapesa as a restaurant since she was in university because her parents invited her for dinner. She loved the outside terrace and the friendly but still elegant atmosphere. In the last few years, she started to be more concerned about her diet, about what she eats. And as a consequence of her new lifestyle, she became more interested in global environment issues, starting to pay more attention to the origins of her food, such as meat, eggs, and cheese. So one aspect that she appreciates of Antica Pesa is that their food is always local and traceable. So this is our consumer persona, new potential persona that goes to Antica Pesa with the new sustainable actions.
So good evening, everyone. Now I'm going to briefly present the SWOT analysis for Antica Pesa. Having established what the consumer preferences are based on the analysis we presented, we then had to apply that knowledge to the brand and identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for Antica Pesa and their attempt to go sustainable. As Ottavia and Carolina discussed beforehand, we found that there are many opportunities in the market for sustainability linked to millennials, identifying that they are indeed the ones most inclined to sustainability, therefore to becoming potential Antica Pesa customers. We also established that food from local farmers is perceived as more authentic, therefore it's an addition to Antica Pesa's traditional image. In terms of threats in the current market, we believe that the COVID-19 pandemic is essentially the greatest one. in terms of restrictions and changing people's consumption habits. And we also established that there are many direct competitors to Antica Pesa, and that the lack of communications between the restaurants could lessen the reciprocal advances in business. In terms of what is already going on in Antica Pesa as a brand, we were glad to have established so many strengths for the brand, which only adds to its core value. However, we believe that there should be more clarity on the sustainability aspect of the brand, especially on the website and social media, as well as that Antica Pesa Mare could potentially result in losing a part of Antica Pesa's core tradition. This is briefly what we managed to identify in the SWOT analysis. And now I'm going to leave the floor to Carolina and Isabella.
Yes. Okay, so,
Okay. So all that research really brings us to the new brand Bible, to this new brand charter that we really try to incorporate this new sustainability. So the value that is really now at heart of the brand, and all the previous values that are still so important for Antica Pesa. And you can see in the core, we have the core propositions. So the sustainable, authentic Roman, a restaurant fusing traditional cuisine and the passion for innovation. And around it, you can see all of different substantiators. So really the supporters of this core message. Many of them focus on sustainability. We see the Tree Dome project that Antica Pesa is already implementing. Farther out, you can see the inner directed values, which really represent how the brand makes the client feel. So when the client really leaves the restaurant, you know, how does Antica Pesa make him feel? And on the right-hand side, we have the outer directed values. So how is this client perceived by others, by his environment, with the fact that he goes to Antica Pesa? And finally, on the bottom, we have the brand personality. So really the essence of the brand that comes off in the communication.
so in brand architecture, we had two major goals. So our first goal was to identify what values were created by each extension and how these values were carried back to the main brand that essentially contributed to the growth of the brand's equity. And second was to analyze how each of these values was publicized and narrated to the public through the brand touchpoints. And you will see our take on this in the website, in the mock website that we created for the brand. Here you will see a flowchart that is structured as a feedback loop. You see that at the center we have the parent brand, and at either side we have the extensions. So the parent brand has the values, and the extensions have associated the values of the parent brand. And all of these values are converged into one point, which is the website, where everything should be tied together. As you can see, Anticapesa Mare has a question mark because we couldn't identify exactly what unique values this extension has, but we do think this is an opportunity to extend the image to embody sustainability, because Anticapesa Mare is linked to nature. So next we were going to see some key characteristics of the website. Can I confirm that everyone is seeing the website?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Good. So here, this is the homepage that we created, and we like the aspect that the viewer is immediately hit with a visual narrative, so a video. So because of time constraints, I'm going to focus on the sustainability tab that we put in the navigation bar. So here we have three tabs. We have the main tab of sustainability, where we were going to see why Antica Pesa wants to adopt this new model and this new image of being sustainable. Next, where you see Treedom, which is a more in-depth description of their cooperation with Treedom and the Antica Pesa forest. However, I want to talk more about the reasons to believe section. So here, the biggest characteristics of this section are to create a visual narrative of the brands and their journey to sustainability, to offer more engagement for the audience, ways in which the audience can interact with the brand digitally, especially important in this COVID age, and also have a section where the brand really adds value to the daily lives of the customers. So here we see some examples of how you can create a visual narrative. So a lot of pictures, very interactive, and a lot of movement. And here we have some bullet points on how to make this brand, how to make the website more open to engagement. So we thought that a comment section, or even allowing customers to share their images when they're interacting with the brand, would be a great way for the brand narrative to grow by itself even. And also by doing this, we gain a lot of insight on the audience that Antica Pesa attracts. And with this insight, we can also have some insight. With this insight, we can also build a strategy on how to give more value to our customers. So here's an example of a video that shows more ways to be more sustainable with food. And here's also another example, a comment section. And there's a lot of other features in the website. And I invite Francesco to kind of, journey his way around the website, and we would love some feedback if he likes it or, and yeah, that is basically it with brand management. Thank you for your time.
No, actually, yeah, with no words, because I'm very impressed. I'm very, very impressed. I mean, if I need to tell you if I like the website, guys, you do an unbelievable job. It's insane. It's insane what you're doing. It's a fantastic point of view. Is exactly what we have in mind. And we start with the new website with the intention to do something very similar in our page. And you had envisioned what we have envisioned. So I'm happy that we match the idea. But actually, you not just make the idea, you are on action to building that. So guys, thank you very much. I'm very impressed. It's very incredible. I can't wait to have all the data and all this document in our hands in order to go through all this problem. Carolina, what I can say, Isabella, girls, it's just fantastic. It's just really fantastic what you guys are doing. Very, very impressed. Very impressed. Professor, this is amazing, incredible.
Thank you. Thank you, Francesco, and thank you, students that made.
Just to let you know, I started to share in our social media in the person one, and I tag John Cabot and Antica Pesa, so we can like generate something like cool like this. But wow, oh my God, I can't wait to have all of you guys, all the classes at the restaurant, to meet you, and to stay together and to spend some beautiful day together here in the garden. This is very, very impressive. I'm so excited. Fantastic. Bravissimo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you a lot.
Incredible. Very good. Very good. So now we will pass to the e-marketing NKT 340 plus advertising management NKT 321.
Yes, hi Francesco.
Ciao, come stai?
Bene, fine, thank you. So me and Professor Tatiana have joined our forces and so did our classes. And we made a unique project for you. So our two classes combined the idea of strategic e-marketing plus the let's say the strength of the promotion and a way of thinking the media mix in a proper way. So I will not keep going and see if Professor Cole has something to say, then we leave the floor to the students who did an amazing job.
Just wanted to add that students worked in the joint teams. So really each team had students from both of our classes. So they did amazing job investing a lot of time, and only one group is going to present today, but actually you can have on your hands 4 projects. One is going to be presented today and the other 3 are going to be sent to you by PDF. So we are going to share those with you. There are some great ideas there too. So maybe you can find them as well useful and contact the students later if you want to elaborate on them. But today is the winning team of our 2 joint classes is presenting.
Fantastico.
So we have Lenora and Chesta.
everyone hear me well? Good.
We hear you, but it's very low, the sound.
No.
We heard you, huh?
We hear you very far away.
Just give me a second. Sorry about this.
No worries. Hi, Lenora. We see you and hear you, but we don't see the presentation anymore.
Okay. Just making sure that all it's put together. Sorry.
Now we hear you well, so
Okay.
good.
I'm glad.
Check.
Perfect. So hi everyone. My name is Lenora and I'll be presenting this with Chietza. Both of us are part of a team that had Leonardo, Andrea, Haya, and we're going to just go ahead and look into it. The structure of this presentation is going to be, first we will look at the business analysis of Antica Pesa. We will apply the 4 C's of Kotler to the Antica Pesa brand, and we'll also look at the value proposition canvas. We will then go ahead to talk about the strategy, diagnosis, and prognosis, then the strategic direction, and what our big idea and promotion plan is. I'll start by talking about the understanding what the brand Antica Pesa is all about. And the first factor in the 4 C's of Kotler is the customer value. As all the other groups have already clearly identified, Antica Pesa is out to bring food and a pleasure experience to every customer, and that is the main customer product. Then you have other values such as the augmented value, which comes with, for example, the hi-fi system, the lounge, the bar, the availability of an event space, and all the other additional values that come with this main value of food and the pleasure experience. And in terms of the cost to the customer, you find that generally with Antica Pesa, customers are willing to pay for what they receive. So people don't, most of Antica Pesa's clientele does not really care that much about how expensive Antica Pesa products are, but they focus more on what value and quality they're going to receive from the Antica Pesa brand. So people are willing to pay for quality that they receive. The third C is the convenience and the place. So far, we have the Antica Pesa in Rome, Italy, in Trastevere. It's a space that really combines all that Antica Pesa tries to bring to us, a space between the past and the future, just offering great quality, trust, also offering a tad of modernity to it, as well as keeping the traditional Italian and Romanesque setting, as well as the brand in New York. So it's really, really a convenient place, both physically and also on the website. And then you have conversation, which you can also refer to as communication. Antica Pesa is a space that loves to be there. As we based on our research, we found that Antica Pesa is a brand that loves conversation. And the very fact that we are here as different groups of John Cabot presenting to you guys shows that you are a brand that really loves communication. You are working with your customers. You are going as trends are changing and as the hospitality and dining industry is involved. So this is our understanding of the Antica Pesa brand. Now, we also went ahead to look at the communication, specifically the social media communication of Antica Pesa. While the Facebook has almost the same posts as the Instagram of Antica Pesa, Facebook is not as active as the Antica Pesa Instagram page. Now, the reason why you see these 3 pictures is because we have 4 main customer values of the Antica Pesa brand, which are food, the atmosphere, the family and tradition, and the history. And you can clearly see that these are represented in this picture. If you go into the Instagram page of Antica Pesa, we were actually not surprised, but quite impressed to find that these were the most interactive post on the Antica Pesa Instagram page. For example, the famous carbonara, which, as we can see, is a combination of traditional Italian cuisine with an innovative take on it with a little tat at the top, shows that particular post had a top of 1,324 likes and a lot of comments. And every single time this picture was posted on the Antica Pesa Instagram, it got just as many comments and interactions. Again, the food and the innovative kitchen really showing value, and the customers really accepting it. And then you have the view and the atmosphere, which is another post. As many times as it has been posted, every time Antica Pesa posts something about the view or the atmosphere, it again gets the highest number of interactions. And then you have this beautiful picture by Chef Panella, which also got so far the most number of comments on the Antica Pesa Instagram page. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that the customers, the clientele of the Antica Pesa brand love the family and tradition that you have built over the years. Love the very fact that one of their very own is part of the kitchen and producing this innovative and wonderful meals. And then lastly, you have the historical part of Antica Pesa, which is shown in the door that says Antica Pesa since 1922. People are drawn to that originality. People are drawn to that historical essence that the brand really has to show. So these are the 4, again, most interactive posts on the Antica Pesa Instagram page. And we looked at that, and that's the detailed breakdown. Now, we also went ahead to do the assessment strategy, and we divided it into three main sectors, which is the brand Antica Pesa, the category of the industry, which is dining and hospitality, and the brand customer, which we're going to look at in a few seconds. The first part, which is the brand, Antica Pesa is a company that is ready, as we have already seen, to adapt to changes in the market. They use quality and sustainability as their main tools, as their main focus. And then you have the category, which is the industry category. The competitors in this category of dining and hospitality usually focus either on authenticity or sustainability. But we have Antica Pesa that is a perfect combination of those two and uses both authenticity and sustainability to outweigh, to go over the top in terms of how it competes in the industry. And lastly, you have the customer. Most of Antica Pesa customers are people that are eager to buy sustainable products because these products are perceived as genuine. And Antica Pesa does this exactly and is still trying to do this even more by showing the people that the brand is more sustainable and finding more innovative ways for sustainability. Now, this little chart was kind of us trying to show that the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, has affected the dining and hospitality industry. Now, we try to look at what the customer would want or think about when choosing one restaurant over the other, because obviously the pandemic has really changed the way we choose things and the way customer tastes appear from person to person. So now there are two possibilities, part A and part B. The part A shows that the pandemic will cause changes in our daily lives on how we do things, and the part B will show that that things will go back to normal, but there will be some sort of residual effect. Now, we are currently in a transition period with everything that COVID has done. We are not fully at the end of it, and we are not in it fully at the same time. So this little chart just kind of tries to show both ends of the coin without any stable point. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave Chedza to continue from where I just ended.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to be covering our competitors really quickly. So essentially what we did when we were considering Anticapesa's competitors is we consider the most fundamental parts of what is making the brand, what it is going to be after this transition into sustainability. So we considered the elements of quality Italian food and sustainability. And what we can see from this positioning map is that clearly the restaurants that focus on being quality Italian have a closer lean towards authenticity, but are further away from sustainability. And the restaurants that focus on sustainability have a higher propensity towards that, but a low authenticity, therefore creating a huge opportunity for Antica Pesa to really develop a competitive advantage by combining these two elements in a way that is entirely unique. So we asked ourselves, what really are like the things that are challenging Antica Pesa right now? The effects of the pandemics on the dining industry are completely universal. And the new consumer awareness of sustainability. These are things that need to be tackled, and we need to find a way to do this efficiently. How are customers behaving? We need to try and predict the behavior that is going to be post-pandemic to ensure that Antica Pesa continues to grow afterwards. And has the pandemic changed people's tastes? Has the pandemic changed people's preferences? And therefore, the best thing that we can do with regards to all of these things is figure out a way to appeal to the customers as we see them now, and figure out a way to make that long-term growth. So we needed to attract people. We considered a new target audience that would really combine these two elements that Antica Pesa was trying to focus on. This one, authenticity and tradition, but also this new innovative sustainability. So generally we thought the kind of people that we'd be trying to attract would be 55% male and 45% women. They're between the ages of 35 and 55, from large cities, busy lifestyles, and have a really high focus on sustainability. Sustainability is something that would be largely important to them, but also would be people who are proud of a Roman association and are really passionate about Roman food. So we can introduce you to Alessandro. Alessandro is who we would consider to be our consumer persona. He is 45 years old, he's proudly Roman, he lives in Prati, he drives an electric car. He really cares about sustainability for the future of his children. He's married, he has 2 kids, he really has a good relationship with his family, and he's somebody that really likes to eat quality food and prioritizes that as a part of his life. When it comes to Alessandro and sustainability, he's somebody who really likes to educate himself on sustainability. He wants to see a future for his children. Therefore, he watches documentaries on the subject to make sure that he's informed. He's a person who's very much against large-scale farming because he feels like it is unethical for the animals. But additionally, it's really bad for sustainability as well. He is somebody who really cares about a transparency in the supply chain of his food. He wants to know exactly where it's coming from and the ethics and the locality of it. But finally, he's somebody who genuinely has a care about reducing food wastage. He thinks it's embarrassing that the world produces 3 times as much food as we need, but people still go hungry every day. And then on to the value proposition canvas. So what we consider to be the core elements of the value proposition canvas when we consider the customer are what they want. What they want privilege, respect, tradition, and peace of mind. These are people who really contribute to their communities. They want to be really interwoven with them. They like prestige because they like to have quality products and they're willing to pay for them. They like respect because they're people who really consider themselves to be leaders in the community, and they really value tradition. Their fears are, losing touch with who they are, with their roots. Their fears are losing touch of what Italy really means on a global scale. And one of their biggest fears, again, is environmental decline. They're people who are aware of what is going on in the world and what scientists are telling us about the way that we are behaving. And their needs, they need a sense of identity. They need a sense of belonging. They need to feel like there is a future for their children potentially. And doing that can be combined all together in Antica Pesa, because there's this family aspect, but also the sustainability gives them the opportunity to really give the peace of mind and sense of a future that they would be missing. In terms of the product, we can consider the benefits. So the benefits would be Italian experience, a really seasonal menu, and more things that we suggested would be a good idea would be sustainable practices and considering zero waste. In terms of the feature, we wanted to include a focus on what's already being done well by Antica Pesa. So that's high quality food, well-designed interior, locally sourced ingredients, and familial atmosphere. But we thought what you could potentially add would be information on food sources and a QR code that could provide this, which we expand upon later in the presentation. Lastly, in terms of the experience for the value proposition canvas, we considered that exclusivity and authenticity would be something that already stands at the heart of who Antica Pesa is. They give a familiar environment and they have Michelin recognized food. However, what you could also expand upon is to give this environmentally conscious atmosphere and this ethically responsible feelings to your customers on a daily basis. And then going forward in terms of like expanding the general audience, we're not just considering Alessandro, we're considering a new generation of people who are really interested in sustainability, mainly focusing on millennials who eat out the most, but also have a high propensity towards sustainable lifestyles, but not leaving alone Generation X, who is second in this chart that we see about who eats out the most, but are also really vehemently interested in educating their children about sustainability and creating a tradition of people eating at Antica Pesa, both for the quality food, but also for the fact that they contribute positively to the environment. Our big idea is to combine all of the aforementioned elements, to combine a transparent food chain and zero food wastage and who Antica Pesa is and what sustainability could mean for them into one big idea. So this would come in two parts. So the first part of our idea would be to implement an efficient food tracking system. So what this would essentially be a way for clients to feel safe and comfortable knowing where their food is coming from and where it goes after they've had their meal and enjoyed it. The second part would be a partnership with Freedom based on the community of Sant'Egidio and Trastevere. So we wanted to do something that would combine all of the elements that you are already doing towards sustainability with these new ideas, creating a new way of making customers aware of where their brand comes from and really reinforcing this brand commitment to going forward. So the next slide shows you essentially more or less what the landing page would look like. What this would do, you'd be able to track the vegetables, the meat, the fish, all of the different elements that combine into the dishes that Antica Pesa provides. And you'd be able to see how they get to Antica Pesa and how they leave and where the food goes to make sure that you can rest easy as customers, knowing that no food is being wasted and that every single drop of quality is coming from a good source that you feel comfortable having a relationship with. So what we wanted to do as well is figure out how we would promote this to customers. So as you can see from the left side, in the bio, we would include a link specifically to this page on the website. And we would also include story highlights so that after we've done the promotional process on Instagram, customers would be able to go back and check out what exactly this QR code, what it means, and how they can become a part of this movement. Going forward, we decided to create a layout of 6 Instagram posts that would be done over 2 weeks to create a ramp up, get people excited and give information. These posts would also include different little bits of information about how the tracking process works, the landing page, and back again linked to the Freedom. So essentially the first post would be a bit of a teaser, getting people excited that something new is coming, some more green movement is coming on the way. The next one would give people an illusion of the fact that this is going to have something to do with movement and how their food goes. The third one would encourage people to subscribe to the newsletter, incentivizing them by saying that if they subscribe to the newsletter, they're donating a tree. Again, going back to the Freedom Project. In terms of the Freedom Project, we would want to reinforce that, to remind people that that is something that is ongoing, but is ongoing simultaneously with this new product for this landing page. And then we would have a post that really lets people know that the landing page is ready and gets them all excited. And the final post would be the release of the QR code. And for all of these Instagram posts, we developed the hashtag travel with your food. We thought it was something really important to make customers feel like they're going along the journey with their food as they go along. Now, Lenore, if you can go to the previous slide. The previous slide. Just back twice. There you go. Okay, next. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so in terms of the stories that we also wanted to share, because Instagram isn't only about posts, we wanted to repost some of the things that we thought would be the most important hallmarks of this promotion process. So of course, the first post would be really important in terms of promotion, because it would once again be the introductory and the thing that would get people excited, kind of like, an antipasto that gets people excited to have more food. The second one would be something that was like more meaty and girthy, kind of like, you know, una prima, that gets people like, oh, okay, like I'm invested in this, I am completely enjoying this process. And the last would be like a café, getting people really excited to get going with this QR code. The next three stories that we decided to do would be completely original. So the three stories would allow for more excitement to be built. So the first one would be to check the inbox, so that clients would be who are subscribed to the newsletter would know that some more information is coming about the project in their inbox. But people who aren't subscribed to the newsletter would be incentivized to do so because they feel like they're missing out. The second one is a little treasure map that leads to Antica Pesa. This not only makes people excited about going to Antica Pesa, but also excited about how they can be a part of the process of going along and making their dishes, but also leaving and seeing where their dishes go. The last one would be a little like excerpt of a map that would involve Sant'Egidio. And this would be somewhere where whatever leftover food that was Antica Pesa, of the evening, of the lunch, of the dinner at Antica Pesa could be given to this community so that people can rest easy knowing that no drop of food is wasted and really feel encouraged to participate in some really strong, ethical, sustainable ways to be, but also in some really good, traditionally authentic Italian food.
I'm so sorry about that, Chetza. This computer just decided to do its own thing. I'm going to reshare my screen. And take over from where Chetza left. Why is it not moving? Okay, stop share. Well, welcome to Zoom.
I think it's okay because you guys are going to share also the extended version with Francesco, so he will be able to see even in more details.
What? Okay.
Your ideas.
I could just
content strategy.
I think he got an antipasto anyway of your idea, and we are at the end. So probably you can wrap up for us the idea, and so
okay.
Final initiatives.
Okay, so the last thing we also decided to propose is an email marketing strategy. So added to the Instagram strategy, we also plan on using email marketing because we found out that Anticapesa has a huge database for emails, and they already have a good number of people on their email list, which they email on a regular basis. So we decided to curate the Instagram post using a specific format with the Instagram as well that combines the pictures from the Instagram with pictures on the website as on the email as well. And we're going to try to use the email format that is very personalized with, for example, ConvertKit or other platforms like MailChimp to send people emails using their names that has a lot of visual information and a few things that are written, again, back to, just in correlation with what we just saw on the Instagram pages. And these emails will be sent constantly and consistently with every post on the Instagram page. And we're going to do this 2 weeks ahead of the launch of the Anticapesa Sustainability for the Future launch. And yeah, that's the idea we came up with, just really leveraging on the ideas that the things that Anticapesa is already doing. Oh, one more thing for emailing that we decided to incorporate is the aspect of encouraging more people to sign up for the email list. And to get more people to sign up for your email list, you need to give them some sort of boost, some sort of thing to actually push them to do that. And we decided to use the hashtag plant a tree with Anticapesa. So for every email that comes, or for every number of email signups that we get, we would, as Anticapesa, plant a tree to celebrate that milestone. So that's what we came up with. Chetza, I'm going to leave it to you to just finish up.
Okay, so essentially to wrap up, what we decided to do was really deep dive into the beautiful things that Antica Pesa is already doing, but really combine new innovative ideas, to combine the aspects of technology that we have as an advantage, to combine this new level of a new audience, to really create something that could be the growing of the next generation of Antica Pesa's consumers. And we hope that you liked our project.
You are muted.
Francesco, I think you're muted.
Muted, Francesco.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, so sorry. No, just fantastic, very impressive to do for this class, incredible. I want to add something before I pass the word to our marketing manager, Mrs. Farin, and there is also Lorenzo Panella from the Panella family. So to the big idea number 2 about Sant'Egidio, it's very impressed because we just like decided to be on December 24th for the Christmas night, to be there and do this charity dinner for everybody, for all of them. So guys, it's unbelievable all the project that you guys are studying. I'm very excited to try to be on action for your idea. I think it's going to be taking a while for me to figure out everything, but it's very helpful. It's incredible. I would love to ask to Madame Ferin if she's over there. Amanda, you there?
I'm here. Yes. Hi, everyone.
Very good. Yeah. So she's the head of the marketing. I think she's in New York right now. I'm in New York, and Lorenzo Panella is in New York. So if Amanda want to add some word, and then Lorenzo.
We still have one more team to present, though.
Yeah, there is the team, the international marketing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I would like just to add something over here because I was impressed for this class before we pass into the international marketing too. I'm sorry, but was very like catching, incredible.
I've been sitting here with my camera off and on mute, but smiling from ear to ear from every single presentation, because the way that every one of you were able to understand Antica Pesa as a business and the impact that we're having and our strategies, but on top of that, to offer really insightful suggestions. I've been sitting here taking notes. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see the last presentation as well, because your hard work, I really can see it with every minute of the presentation. So I just want to say thank you. I'm really inspired by all of your work.
Lorenzo in New York, we want to add something?
Yes, guys, just really a couple of words.
Lorenzo is a Brooklyn guys.
Yes. So just a couple of words, guys. But I think that with all this beautiful, incredible brain put it together, we are all set for the next 20, 25 years. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are amazing, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the passion, for the love, professor, teacher, students. You are incredible. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts as a family. Really, thank you so much. A big kiss from Brooklyn, from all of you guys. You are incredible. Thank you.
Very cool. So, Professor, now we passing to the international marketing
yes, let me
MKT 3302. Thank you.
Exactly. Let me introduce the guys. So the class had exactly 2 students. So everybody was working on the project, and everybody who was involved will present. Okay, they were working really hard. So guys, I'm leaving the floor to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the chance to present, Mr. Pinella. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. And then if I can get a confirmation on when you can see the screen.
Yeah, we can see Ryan.
Fantastic.
How are you, Ryan, by the way? How are you? Good?
I'm good. I'm ready to drink a glass of wine after this.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ryan.
All right. So good evening, Mr. Pinella. My name is Ryan Farrell, and I'm presenting with Jordan Marichek today, and we're going to be talking about expanding on sustainability. So we are representing the international marketing class here at JCU. So we thought it would be better to focus on the Brooklyn restaurant. And so, Lorenzo, if you're still listening, listen up. Okay, so first I want to start by addressing, what you guys are doing right now in terms of sustainability in New York. A few weeks ago, we had the chance to meet with Amanda, your Brooklyn marketing director, and we found out that right now, currently, you guys are doing a great job moving towards sustainability. So now I want to look at Antica Pesa kind of through the lens of the 5 R's, which are refuse, reduce, recycle, and rot. And so you have already transitioned to packaging alternatives. You've been ordering in bulk, sourcing locally. You carry your Italian style there in Brooklyn. So during preparation, you minimize waste. Through the COVID pandemic, you were able to switch to eco-friendly packaging, and you have a very careful mindedness for disposal of your organic waste. So here I want to give you a visual representation of the business model of Antica Pesa Brooklyn. You can see the consumer side on the right, and then on the left, you can see the key partner side. And in terms of sustainability, I think it's very important to look in the middle here. And right now, the value proposition is high quality, authentic food while offering a unique Italian experience. So this snapshot of the Brooklyn business model identifies some key attributes that could be highlighted in the business. For example, if you look to the left at your key partners, you will see your special meat distributor. And again, after meeting with Amanda, we found out that this local meat distributor provides Antica Pesa with a very high quality sausage that resembles the Italian one served in Trastevere. And this is huge because you've already realized the importance of sustainability and you've switched from shipping to sourcing locally. So pretty much in this canvas, we can see that Antica Pesa already has some certain sustainable actions at the core of the business. As we saw in the business model canvas, Antica Pesa already has these practices really embedded in the existing business. But the issue that we found is besides the Antica Pesa forest, we didn't see these core values being communicated through your media channels. So the question is now, who are we going to market this to? Who is our consumer? How are we going to market to him? And how are we going to tailor this marketing strategy to his needs? So the consumer that we're targeting here is Alan Brady, and he is an upper middle class working man who lives in New York. He's very work driven. He's educated. He's authentic. He enjoys traveling, and he's curious about his new experiences and trying new things. You can see that he has a above average knowledge of sustainability, and he often looks for new experiences in his life, and that includes restaurants. So now that we've looked at Alan, let's further look into what are the drivers behind Alan's life. And to do this, or the reason we do this, is to see exactly how we can communicate these sustainable actions to him. So if we look to the right at Alan's drivers, we can see that he wants a variety of experiences. He wants to keep his work-life balance, and he wants to sustain long-term relationships. And Antica Pesa provides all of that. What adds value for Alan is an exciting atmosphere, unexpected sustainable actions, because he cares about sustainability in the future, and nostalgia. Not only does Antica Pesa Brooklyn have a beautiful atmosphere, exclusive venues, but you're already doing a number of acceptable sustainable actions, and you can emphasize it. So the value proposition canvas, we can see that Antica Pesa actually does do something that adds value for Alan that needs to be expanded on. So how can you market these values to Alan? I want to now pass this presentation off to my good colleague, Jordan, and he's going to expand on how to effectively communicate these values to Alan.
So we thought that 3 additional sustainable measures that our consumer Alan would very much enjoy to see would be these 3 here. We framed them like this because commitment C would be the biggest one that kind of encompasses the other 2, while commitment A will be the least one. And then commitment B is kind of in between. This is also in terms of not only commitment and the difficulty to implement them, but also, of course, the value that they will necessarily provide in terms of sustainability. So for commitment A, we have it focusing on the youth education and cooking classes through other and community engagement activities, because we think in general, sustainability and longevity very much go hand in hand. So it's really important to not only focus on existing people who are, well into their age in terms of sustainability and educating them, but it's especially important to focus on the youth, because it's very important that they start being sustainable when they're young, and they go through their entire lives being sustainable, because they are who will really genuinely have an impact in terms of sustainability. And we think it's a great way for Anticapesa also to engage with the community in this sense as well. For the commitment B, we have the second biggest commitment, which would be in terms of suppliers and kind of holding suppliers to a set standard, the same standard that Anticapesa has basically. Anticapesa is already very sustainable and they source everything locally, but we think it'd be very valuable for them to specifically hold their suppliers to this standard as well, and only work with suppliers that have very strict regulations in terms of sustainability. And commitment C, that we think is the biggest commitment, that would have the most impact on sustainability, but of course is the most difficult to implement, would be reducing meat on the menu, because unfortunately, no matter how meat is sourced, it has the biggest impact compared to any kind of food. So we think that it would be very valuable in general for sustainability to reduce the meat on the menu, though we recognize that this is not necessarily doable, just given the restaurant. In terms of marketing, to kind of meet this missed target that we discussed earlier, we think it's very important to focus on existing customers and communicate the sustainable actions that Anticapesa is already doing. So this is highlighting the partnerships, the lack of waste, the packaging decisions, and community involvement. In general, Anticapesa is already doing a lot to be sustainable, and the existing customers don't necessarily know about that. So we definitely need to focus on communication for that. And for this communication that we think, again, is focusing on people who are already kind of in the restaurant or engaging with it. So this will be first pages in the menu dedicated to sustainability. So as people read the menu, the first pages they notice are literally just dedicated to saying what Anticapesa is already doing to be sustainable. So people in the restaurant are able to know that what they're eating is sustainably sourced and that the restaurant is doing a lot for sustainability. We also think that the sustainability section on the US website should be expanded upon. There already is a dedicated section on the US website, which is of course very valuable, but it primarily focuses on the Antica Pesa forest, which is a great initiative. But we think that in addition to that, Antica Pesa should put everything else they're doing, because they're already doing a lot to be very sustainable. So they might as well communicate it to the customers through the website. And then we're linking to this, we think it'd be valuable to put QR codes on the table so that while people are waiting for their food, they can scan this QR code, which will bring them directly to the sustainability page, which will also have the information that we just mentioned, but also the ability to donate to potentially offset their meal's impact. So directly through Antica Pesa, people can donate to a charity of their choice to offset the impact of that their meal is having. And for communicating the sustainable actions that we mentioned before, the additional ones they can implement, we think it's good to focus on new customers for these. So to existing customers, they focus the existing actions, but for the new customers, as well as of course existing ones, it's important to focus the new measures that they can implement. And to do this, we think it's very valuable to do it through social media. For this example, we chose commitment B because it's a good balance between level of commitment and also the environmental impact. And we think that to kind of meet the farmer campaign could be very valuable for commitment B to show the suppliers that Antica Pesa is working with, primarily focusing on their Instagram. We think this can not only be the farmers, but also the packaging suppliers and just in general partnerships that Antica Pesa has. We could potentially do like maybe 1 week dedicated to each different supplier, and then promoting these suppliers on Antica Pesa's Instagram. We think it can be valuable for the Instagram because these suppliers would also cross promote. So they might share this as well on their Instagrams, which will of course increase Antica Pesa's following and make it easier to retarget people and in general build a following on Antica Pesa's New York restaurant, because right now it is a very small following in comparison to the Italian side. So in conclusion, as we've mentioned, Antica Pesa is already very sustainable, but we think it's of great value not only to the restaurant, but also to the customers to effectively communicate all their actions that they're already doing, and to make people feel better about eating at the restaurant and make Antica Pesa seem like a very sustainable restaurant, because they genuinely are. And so it's really important to kind of connect to this communication with their existing actions. We also think that in general, it's good for Antica Pesa to continue adopting sustainable measures like the ones we mentioned, because they're already doing a lot to be sustainable and they have throughout their history. But it's important to keep looking forward always and kind of focus on what else they can do to continue this trend of sustainability and really maintain their brand as a truly sustainable restaurant. And that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. So, guys, you looks like 10 and not 2. Are you sure you are just a couple of guys to do all this together? Great. That's fantastic. What a multitasker, eh? Great. Really fantastic. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it was informational and maybe you can pull something out of that.
100%. 100%. 100%. We will ask you some data to study, you know, for our back. Thank you so much, Bagno. Really good job. Good job, guys. Allora, la prof Polino?
Eccomi.
Prof, guardi, noi siamo veramente senza parole per il grandissimo lavoro che hanno fatto. They are doing an amazing job on the classes. Really, thanks from the bottom of the heart, from the Panella family, and all our customer and friends and family and you guys. So we extended an invite to Antica Pesa to all of you. And the winner is gonna take a tree, but I think I'm going to deliver the tree for everybody. So one for everyone, because you guys are really doing an amazing job. So Amanda over there, we will deliver all the present for you, and I want to extend an invitation to Antica Pesa at all the students and you when you guys want. Okay. I don't know if we wanna do some Q&A, open discussion, or there is any question for you guys.
Well, at that point, I think I have to comment on the fact that students obviously got very, very involved and engaged with the company, in part because of the work of the professors that guided those classes, and in part because the brand is already very attractive. So it's easy to relate to it. It's especially for young people. So we really are very honored to be part of, you know, this expansion plan that you have and this idea of promoting sustainability. So in 10 years time, when we see Anticapesa everywhere standing for sustainability, we'll remember today and these wonderful presentations that we had and the whole experience. So on behalf of John Cabot, his professors and his students, I again renew my thanks to the company, and obviously we want to follow you know, what happens afterwards. So I'm sure there will be follow-ups.
100%. And we will find a way to keep going to do something together, guys, if you really want to be here in New York City, to Antica Pesa Mare in Cavallo, which is this fantastic new operation that we did in the middle of Mediterranean to the Corsica in France. So whatever we want to do, we are ready to work with you, to have fun with you together, guys. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Okay. And for now, we call it a day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, ragazzi.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone.
Bravissimi. Thanks.
Great job. Thank you.
Really great job. Great job. Grazie, 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 ragazzi.
Grazie.
Fantastico.
Grazie a tutti. Clamoroso.
Ciao a tutti. Thanks.
Ciao Ricky, grazie.
Bye.
Ciao a tutti, grazie.
Che meraviglia.
Ciao, grazie.
Bye.